The Galactic Federation's Council Hall was a spectacle of power, its towering windows revealing a sprawling city below, where alien species from hundreds of worlds gathered in quiet reverence. The delegates wore their most dignified expressions, but beneath the surface, they shared a collective sense of superiority. They were the established order, the civilized ones, and Earth, a planet teetering on the edge of primitive warfare, was merely a pawn in their grand design. At the head of the table sat Sereth, a warlord from the icy moon of Droller 5, his 6 arms folded across his chest as he looked down at the holo display. The Earthlings had sent a mere diplomat to the Federation's invitation, a sign of their naivety, or so he thought. Humanity has no true military might, he sneered, his voice booming through the chamber. Their weapons are primitive, and their systems a tangled mess of obsolete technology. They cannot even fly beyond their own moon. This meeting should be brief. Across the room, Jacor, a representative from the insectoid species of Ziktak, flicked his antennae in irritation. You underestimate them, Sereth. Earth has shown a capacity for unexpected adaptability. The reports from their recent space explorations, a few satellites, and a handful of missions do not a military make. Sereth interrupted, his voice dripping with contempt. What are they going to do? Throw rocks at us? A chorus of laughs rippled through the council, but Jacor's warning remained. It was a minor tremor, easily dismissed in the wake of Sereth's mockery. However, in the back of the room, General Maya Takahashi of the Pan-Eurasian Command listened intently to every word. Her face, calm and composed, hid a mind that was calculating, dissecting, and analyzing. The Federation's arrogance was a gift, a weakness she could exploit. Her team of strategists had been watching the Federation for years, compiling every bit of intelligence they could. They knew the flaws in the Federation's technology, and more importantly, they knew that the Federation had made one grave error. They had underestimated humanity's greatest weapon, not their weapons of war, but their ingenuity and will to survive. General Takahashi stood from her seat, her eyes locking with the Federation delegates. You may be right, she said coolly, her voice carrying through the hall. We are not where you are, but you've miscalculated one thing. The room fell silent. We are not here to be subdued. And you are not here to win. We will make sure of that. Her words hung in the air, thick with meaning. As she turned to leave the chamber, a ripple of unease spread through the room. The Federation had just realized, too late, that they had made their first mistake. The Federation envoy ship descended toward Earth, sleek and silver, cutting through the atmosphere with effortless grace. The ship's captain, Commander Velric, stood at the helm, his alien features calm but unreadable. The mission was simple: present Earth's leaders with an ultimatum, and wait for their submission. In the eyes of the Federation, Earth was a backwater planet, ripe for integration into the greater galactic order. A planet with no real defense, no understanding of true power. The Federation had seen this before. Worlds like Earth were easily assimilated. But what Velric didn't understand, what no one understood, was that humanity, when cornered, would do anything to protect its own. They had something the Federation had not accounted for, an unyielding spirit. Back on Earth, at the United Nations headquarters in Geneva, world leaders sat in tense silence. Their communications with the Federation were a mix of bewilderment and unease. The message was clear. Earth's fate was in their hands. They could submit to the Federation's will or face annihilation. But it was General Takahashi's voice that cut through the tension. She had called for a closed-door meeting with the world's military leaders. The moment was fraught with uncertainty. What could they do against such an overwhelming force? We won't submit, Takahashi said firmly, her eyes scanning the faces around the table. But we also can't take them on directly. Not with their fleet at our doorstep. Her fingers hovered over a sleek tablet, and a map of the planet lit up on the screen. She zoomed in on Earth's orbit. They think we've made no advances in space warfare, but they've underestimated us. We've prepared something special. Her words sent a ripple of disbelief through the room. Some leaders, especially from the more developed nations, were skeptical. Earth had been under constant pressure to build an effective defense force, but the truth was that many of Earth's resources had been misdirected into domestic crises. Few believed humanity could compete against the technological marvels of the Federation. But Takahashi didn't wait for approval. She turned to her trusted team of engineers and cyber warfare experts who had been secretly preparing for a moment like this. Without hesitation, Marcus Ley, Earth's brightest hacker, tapped into the Federation's communication network, sending out a signal so subtle that it couldn't be detected by conventional means. As the Federation ship touched down in Geneva, the lights of the city went dark, all of them. Satellites, military drones, and even the ships in orbit froze in place. A deafening silence descended. The Federation had been cut off, trapped in a web of Earth's technological prowess. Commander Valeric looked out from the window of the envoy ship, his brow furrowing in confusion. What is happening? The display screens on his vessel blinked erratically. The Federation had been caught completely off guard. General Takahashi's voice crackled over the communications channel. "Welcome to Earth, Commander. You won't find it as easy to conquer as you thought." The Federation fleet hovered ominously in Earth's orbit, unaware that their carefully calculated invasion plans were already falling apart. As Earth's systems went dark, Commander Valeric stood in the bridge of his flagship, his mind racing. The Federation had expected a meek submission, not a global disruption of this scale. "Report," he barked, his voice tight with frustration. We've lost contact with the outer satellites," an ensign stammered. "All comms are down. The ships." Suddenly, the ship shuddered violently, throwing several crew members to the floor. The screens flickered, then went black. Panic spread through the crew as Valeric's eyes locked onto the incoming data. On the planet's surface, General Takahashi's face remained calm, but her mind raced with anticipation. She had always known that the Federation's reliance on their technological superiority would be their Achilles heel. While they prided themselves on their advanced systems, Earth's brightest minds had quietly worked for decades to develop countermeasures. And now, all that work was coming to fruition. Marcus Ley, sitting in the depths of Earth's cyber warfare headquarters, tapped feverishly on his console. His fingers moved faster than the eye could follow, slicing through encrypted Federation communication channels like a hot knife through butter. "We've got them," he muttered, watching as the screens filled with the disarrayed messages from the Federation's command. "All the Federation's ships are locked in a feedback loop." Human ingenuity was not limited to hacking. It was in their ability to adapt under pressure. Earth's team had developed a powerful electromagnetic pulse weapon that not only disabled Federation ship systems, but also emitted a signal that mimicked the Federation's own encrypted frequencies. In the confusion, the Federation fleet had no idea who was in control anymore. Back on the Federation flagship, Valric's rage was palpable. "Prepare to initiate countermeasures," he ordered, slamming his fist against the command console. But the orders came too late. A series of piercing alarms filled the bridge, and before anyone could react, Earth's final move was executed. High above Earth, in low orbit, a series of hidden railgun platforms powered on, their energy humming through the vast void of space. In an instant, Earth's orbital defense network fired. A single colossal railgun round ripped through the Federation's flagship, disintegrating its core in a brilliant flash of light. The shockwave reverberated through the fleet, sending ships into a chaotic spiral. A Federation admiral's voice echoed over the comms, but the message was unintelligible, swallowed by the growing static. One by one, the Federation fleet began to fall apart, as if a single stroke had taken them all down. The Federation had not just underestimated Earth's strength, they had ignored the relentless power of human resolve. And now, they were paying the price. General Takahashi watched the destruction unfold on her holographic display, her expression hardening. "This is just the beginning," she whispered. "They'll know who we are now." The Federation had been humiliated in space, their fleet shattered in a single coordinated strike. But that was only the beginning. They still had a trump card. Their elite ground forces, an invasion force assembled to quash any signs of resistance on Earth. The Federation's confidence, bruised but not broken, had now shifted to anger. The decision was made. Earth would feel the full weight of their wrath. Within days, Federation troop carriers filled the skies, descending into Earth's atmosphere like a swarm of metal locusts. The first drop sites were set in the vast, arid deserts of Nevada, far from the eyes of the world's population, but near critical military installations. Commander Valric, now aboard a different command ship, had overseen the recalibration of his forces. Earth had shown its cards, but he wasn't about to be outwitted again. "We will show them the true might of the Federation," he muttered, glaring at the endless horizon below. The Federation had more advanced technology and superior firepower. Surely that would be enough to crush any lingering human defiance. But Valric hadn't considered one thing. Earth's battlefield was not like any they had faced before. The Federation ground forces, thousands of elite soldiers equipped with state-of-the-art weapons, armor, and alien augmentations, rained down on Earth's surface with deadly precision. As the first wave hit the ground, their heavily armored vehicles rolled forward, guns at the ready, anticipating a swift, decisive victory. What they didn't anticipate was the sudden, deafening roar of artillery fire that split the air. Massive blasts rained down, tearing through their vehicles like paper. Earth's mobile artillery units, disguised among the mountains, fired precision rounds from hidden positions. Federation troops scrambled, but it was too late. EMP mines, planted deep within the desert sands, detonated with a violent pulse, disabling Federation tech and plunging their ranks into disarray. Captain Elena Devereux, one of Earth's most decorated Special Forces commanders, led the counterattack. Her soldiers, armed with modified weapons scavenged from Federation tech, moved like shadows through the desert. The human forces knew the land, the terrain, and they fought with a fury that the Federation couldn't anticipate. Each skirmish was a nightmare for the invaders as Devereux's team ambushed them from all sides, exploiting every weakness in their assault. The Federation soldiers, powerful as they were, had never fought anything like this. The humans weren't just soldiers, they were survivors. Their tactics were unorthodox, ruthless, and brilliantly coordinated. Every move the Federation made was met with a devastating counter, and within hours, their forces began to buckle. On the ground, the Federation's superior tech became irrelevant in the face of guerrilla warfare executed with military precision. Their soldiers, once brimming with arrogance, now found themselves fighting for their lives, overwhelmed by the sheer unpredictability and resourcefulness of the humans. Valric watched the unfolding chaos through his fleet's surveillance drones, disbelief creeping into his mind. The Federation's elite troops, feared across the galaxy, were being outwitted and decimated by Earth's human forces. "This wasn't supposed to happen," he muttered under his breath. General Takahashi's voice crackled over the comms, her tone cold. "Your soldiers are outmatched. You've lost this war before it even began." And in that moment, Valric knew she was right. The Federation was not just facing a military. It was facing humanity's raw, unyielding determination to survive. The Federation's first full-scale ground assault had been an unmitigated disaster. The desert sands of Nevada, once barren and untouched, were now stained with the remnants of the Federation's finest soldiers. In less than 24 hours, the invading forces were broken, scattered, and disheartened. Earth's military had proven far more resilient than anyone could have anticipated. As the Federation's remaining forces limped back to their ships, bruised and battered, the realization began to set in across the galaxy. Earth was not the easy target they had assumed. On board the Federation command ship Vanguard, Admiral Valthrix paced furiously, his fist clenched around the armrest of his chair. The loss was catastrophic, not just in military terms, but in pride. The Federation had been the dominant force in the galaxy for millennia. Yet now, a small, insignificant planet had turned the tide of battle in a matter of hours. "Admiral." "Sir," a communications officer said cautiously, "we've received reports from several of our outer colonies. They're questioning our ability to protect them. Some are considering withdrawing support." Valfrix froze, his mind racing. The Federation's strength had always been in its unity, its ability to conquer and assimilate countless worlds. But now, cracks were forming. The lesser races, the ones who had been promised protection and prosperity under Federation rule, were seeing Earth's success as a sign that their own survival might not depend on Federation dominance. They were beginning to wonder if the humans could be an ally, perhaps even a protector, rather than a target. "You let them get away with this," Valfrix muttered, turning to face his subordinates. "You were supposed to crush them." This was supposed to be a simple exercise in diplomacy, not a campaign that has now put our very existence at risk. Back on Earth, General Takahashi stood in a high-tech command room, overseeing the data flooding in from Earth's successful defense. The news was being broadcast around the globe. The Federation had lost its first wave. The world was in disbelief, unsure whether to celebrate or brace for the next inevitable Federation retaliation. But Takahashi knew this was the crucial moment. "Keep the pressure on," she ordered, her voice unwavering. "Don't let them regroup. We have to make them doubt their strength, make them question whether this is even worth fighting for." Her strategy was simple: fracture the Federation's unity, sow distrust, and play on the fear of failure. The Federation was a vast, bureaucratic empire, held together not by shared ideals, but by power and control. The cracks that had begun to form were small, but they would widen quickly if pushed. Back in the Federation's capital, far from Earth, the Council was in turmoil. As word of the disaster on Earth spread, several smaller species raised their voices in protest. Some demanded an immediate ceasefire, while others began to open back-channel communications with Earth. The balance of power was shifting, and the Federation's confidence was beginning to erode. The war had taken a turn, and General Takahashi, watching from Earth, knew that the real battle, one of ideology and survival, was just beginning. The Federation's pride had been shattered, and their fleets scattered across the galaxy were now on the defensive. The loss of their ground forces on Earth was just the beginning of a series of humiliations that the Federation had not prepared for. The Federation's high command knew that a direct confrontation with Earth's military could no longer be avoided, but they were determined to prove that their true strength lay in their might beyond Earth's atmosphere. In response, Admiral Valfrix had called for the assembly of the Ghost Fleet, a secretive force composed of the most advanced Federation ships, cloaking technology, stealth systems, and weaponry far beyond what Earth's defenses could handle. This would be the Federation's answer to Earth's surprise success, an attack from the shadows, an assault that would be over before Earth could react. The fleet, invisible to all but the most sophisticated detection systems, moved into position on the far side of the solar system, beyond Earth's radar. Valfrix watched the coordinates as the Ghost Fleet assembled in the darkness, each ship cloaked and silent, ready to strike with surgical precision. However, Earth's technological reach had expanded rapidly since the early stages of the conflict. While the Federation had assumed their stealth technology would render them undetectable, they had underestimated one key factor: humanity's drive to innovate under pressure. Captain Sato, one of Earth's most brilliant tacticians, had spent weeks studying Federation stealth tech, analyzing every scrap of data they had gathered from intercepted transmissions and captured ships. He had predicted this move, and so Earth's engineers had developed a countermeasure, a sensor grid that worked on quantum signatures, able to detect the faintest shifts in spacetime. As the Ghost Fleet neared Earth's orbit, Sato gave the signal. From Earth's deep space defense stations, a series of probes launched into the void, their sensors deployed to scan the emptiness. Within moments, an anomaly appeared on the sensors, multiple cloaked ships moving in formation. "It's them," Sato muttered, his voice steady. He turned to his crew. "Prepare the pulse weapons. This ends now." With a quiet hum, Earth's weapons systems activated. From hidden launch sites in the Kuiper Belt, massive electromagnetic pulses, EMPs, surged through space, sending shockwaves of energy across the void. As the pulse waves reached the Federation fleet, their cloaking technology flickered and failed, revealing the Ghost Fleet in all its vulnerability. A series of strikes followed, each ship in the Ghost Fleet now visible to Earth's sensors and easy targets. Earth's railguns and kinetic energy weapons fired in rapid succession, cutting through Federation ships like knives through butter. The Ghost Fleet, once a symbol of Federation superiority, was now reduced to a floating graveyard in the cold depths of space. Admiral Valthrix watched in disbelief as his fleet was destroyed, his face twisted with rage and disbelief. "How did they detect us?" he growled. General Takahashi's voice came over the comms, her words a cold echo across the void. "You never thought we could fight in space, did you? You assumed we were too primitive, too unprepared. But you were wrong. We've only just begun." The Federation's final card had been played, and it had been crushed. The Ghost Fleet was no more. In the aftermath of the Ghost Fleet's annihilation, the Federation's leadership was in chaos. Valthrix had failed, and the galaxy was now watching Earth with a mixture of awe and fear. The once invincible Federation was faltering, and their image as the dominant power in the universe was beginning to crumble. Whispers spread through the corridors of their capital, and the lesser species of the Federation grew restless, questioning whether the Empire could still protect them. Even the most loyal of allies were now reconsidering their position. Desperation began to set in. The Federation Council convened an emergency session, every seat filled by alien representatives with eyes burning with frustration and panic. Sereth, the warlord from Droller 5, was the first to speak. "We cannot afford to lose any more ships. We've already underestimated Earth once," Sereth growled, his many eyes flashing with malice. "But their defenses are overwhelming. They'd not only proven themselves on the battlefield, but they've gained the support of several of our own colonies. If we don't act quickly, we may lose the entire sector." A delegate from the Andromedan system, whose voice was tinged with an unfamiliar panic, nodded vigorously. "We've lost too many resources to this futile campaign. Earth's technological advantage is growing by the day. Soon, they will be able to build their own fleet, far superior to anything we've ever faced." The Federation's supreme leader, High Chancellor Nivran, held his silence for a long moment, staring out the window into the endless expanse of space. His expression was one of quiet contemplation, but his mind was already spinning with possibilities. "There is one final option," Nivran said, his voice cold and resolute. "We can deploy the Unyielding Legion." A ripple of shock moved through the council chamber. The Unyielding Legion, the Federation's ultimate weapon, had never been deployed outside of emergency situations. It was a fleet of warships unlike any other, powered by a mysterious energy source and carrying a devastating weapon capable of decimating entire planets. It was their last card, the one that would end all resistance, if Earth could be crushed in a single blow. General Takahashi, monitoring the Federation's movements through Earth's advanced satellite network, immediately noticed an unusual energy spike on the outer edges of the system. Her tactical team scrambled to analyze the data. "It's them," Takahashi muttered, her eyes narrowing. "They've made their move. They're bringing in the Unyielding Legion." She turned to her commanders. "We've prepared for this. Earth has one advantage left: the ability to adapt faster than they can react. Get ready to move our forces into position. We've only one chance to take them down." The Federation's ultimate weapon was on its way to Earth, and it was about to be met by the full might of humanity's greatest strength, its resilience and ingenuity. The Unyielding Legion emerged from the edge of the solar system, a colossal fleet of warships and dreadnoughts, each one a monument to the Federation's unbridled power. The fleet moved with terrifying precision, their engines glowing with a faint, ominous light. These were the Federation's last hope, an arsenal so powerful that it could erase entire cities, wipe out civilizations in the blink of an eye. It was an apocalyptic force, designed to obliterate any enemy in its path. But Earth was not just any enemy. General Takahashi stood in the heart of Earth's command center, her face lit by the flickering holographic displays. The scale of the threat before her was staggering, yet she showed no fear. Around her, the world's military leaders gathered, each of them ready to fight, not for victory, but for survival. "Deploy the last line of defense," she ordered, her voice unwavering. Earth's final weapon, hidden deep in the lunar surface, would now take center stage. Earth's hidden fleet, a secret force of ships designed specifically to counter the Federation's overwhelming power, had been prepared for years. The ships, equipped with advanced stealth systems, energy shields, and weapons designed to neutralize the Federation's strengths, had quietly assembled around the moon. These were not the ships of the future. They were a hybrid of human ingenuity and captured Federation tech, now turned against their creators. As Earth's fleet took position around the moon, Takahashi issued the order to fire. A series of high-powered energy beams erupted from the lunar-based cannons, each one aimed directly at the unyielding Legion. The beams sliced through the void with pinpoint accuracy, tearing through the Legion's shields and disabling their outermost vessels in a flash of blinding light. The Federation's response was swift, but disorganized. The unyielding Legion, despite its immense power, had never encountered such an unpredictable and relentless defense. The human fleet struck with precision, exploiting every weakness in the Federation's armor. Takahashi's forces had been waiting for this moment, and every ship, every soldier, every piece of technology was part of a larger, meticulously coordinated plan. Valthrix, aboard the flagship of the unyielding Legion, watched as his forces faltered, his vision of victory slipping through his fingers. The desperation was palpable in his voice as he issued orders to retaliate. "Bring every weapon online. We will crush them. Now." But the humans were already one step ahead. From Earth's surface, thousands of surface-to-space missiles launched, each one carrying a payload designed to disable Federation ships with a devastating EMP burst. The strikes hit their mark, sending Federation vessels into chaos. The unyielding Legion, once thought invincible, was now buckling under the pressure of Earth's relentless assault. The battle raged on for hours, but it was clear who would emerge victorious. The Federation's pride, their arrogance, and their belief in their own superiority had led them to this moment, their final defeat. As the last of the unyielding Legion ships drifted into the void, crippled and shattered, General Takahashi stood at the center of Earth's command center, watching the carnage unfold. Her team had done the impossible. Earth had not only defended itself, but had shattered the Federation's dominance. In the quiet after the storm, Takahashi's voice rang out over the comms, steady and resolute. "The Federation has made its fatal mistake. They believed Earth was weak. Now, they know the truth. Humanity had survived, and the galaxy would never forget the lesson it had learned. Underestimating Earth was the greatest mistake the Federation had ever made."